matters pertaining to grief and loss, tools and resources for hope amid suffering, biblical principles to shed light in the darkness. This is the Grief Speak podcast.
Welcome to the Grief Speak podcast. This is Jacob
and Cory.
And today we want to talk about something many people who are grieving face. Everybody who grieves has lost someone special to them, someone who is as unique as a snowflake, as a flower, as a fingerprint. Each person is created in the image of God. Each person is unique. God knows them, made them, and you know them, and that's why you're grieving. And that loss is unique in many different ways. And so one, I guess, side effect, outcome of your grief, of losing that unique person, and whatever circumstance you lost that person is, you may feel that no one really understands what you're going through in the different facets of your grief. Maybe in the relationship that you had with your loved one, maybe in the things you're experiencing. There's many different ways you may be feeling that or experiencing that, but a lot of people feel no one understands what I'm going through. So they don't seek help, so they don't get help. I've seen this. Well, I didn't personally see this, but shortly after my twin sister passed away, so my mom, she lost her only daughter, and my sister had two kids. My mom was at a restaurant, and she has tried to help grieving people ever since she lost her daughter. She saw someone who had lost a child very recently, and she went up and tried to comfort that grieving person. Said, "I'm so sorry." She said, "I know what you're going through." And that lady got mad at her. Said, "You do not know what I'm going through. You at least have your grandkids. My child didn't have a chance to have kids yet. You do not know what I'm going through." You see, and so people feel this way. My mom was trying to give comfort to that person. That person wouldn't even receive it because they put up that barrier of, "No, you don't know what I'm going through." And in a lot of ways, my mom did know what she was going through.
Yeah.
But she wasn't willing to receive that comfort that was extended to her because of this stipulation of no one understands what I'm going through. So we want to offer some helps. We want to converse about this common theme of no one understands what I'm going through. So how have you seen this? How can we tackle this, Cory?
Well, it really does feel like it's more of a reactionary thing, because we're in the beginning of grief, and especially losing someone very close to us. We're learning everything afresh, new, and so it really does feel like we are alone,
Yeah.
because we've never felt this before. And so it's very easy to look around and say, no one has a clue what I'm going through. And a lot of times that is a reaction from what people say. Um, like even in your story, like your mother actually did have an identification. She could connect there. But there again, people have this feeling, we have this feeling, all of us do, that well, my grief is unique, and it is, because the circumstances are different, because the situations are different. And so our gut reaction is to feel that way. And then I think we also kind of uh, go in this direction when people say things to us that are not helpful. Um, you know, things that kind of even belittle our our grief. I remember counseling with a young guy a few years ago who had lost their baby in miscarriage. And he said I think it was his grandfather or someone said, "You know what? You're young, you're fine, you'll have
Mm,
another opportunity."
yeah.
And that was just not what he needed to hear.
No, that
Well,
doesn't help with that current circumstance of his
no,
real
no,
loss.
not at all. And so things like that that are said to us makes it feel like you just don't get it. You just
Yeah,
don't, you don't understand. And
yeah,
so when we do that, then we have a natural reaction of wanting to withdraw from people because we've automatically lost trust.
yeah,
We don't trust that people can truly be helpful to us. And so we naturally want to turn in and withdraw, but that's not good. Um,
yeah,
I mean, I know there's a season of, there's time it's appropriate to be alone, but it
yeah.
is dangerous to withdraw too much.
Yeah, I can see that. So if you have the thought, no one understands what I'm going through,
Mm.
then you're not going to go to anyone for help. You're not going to go to anyone with your grief, with your problems, with conversation, because what's the use, right?
Right.
And we all need to go to someone in our grief. We can't do it alone.
No.
Yeah,
No. And so we have to do two things there. We have to, one, have grace with people, which isn't always easy because that goes against how we feel in the moment. Um, but you have to be gracious and understanding. People will say things, they'll say dumb things. And it's partly because they don't know what to say to us, but uh, but we need to be gracious in the fact that we need to look to the intent behind what's said, their heart there. But then also we need to not buy into the lie that no one understands because there really are people out there, while they may not know exactly 100%, they know probably 90%,
yeah.
and
Well,
that
you
is
know
that.
what?
Yeah,
Even if they know 30% or 20%, even if they know 10%, that
right.
10% can benefit me,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But if I withdraw, I get 0% of that
Right.
help.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and so we gotta fight the temptation to minimize their loss when they're trying to help us,
Oh,
because
yeah, that's a good word, Cory.
I mean, because that's what in the moment we feel like our loss is the biggest thing, and in our world, it is the biggest thing, but it's their loss is just as big for them, and
Yep.
so we have to remember that.
Yeah.
Um, and so that leads us to realizing that it's not just them, but even God. Even God knows what we're
Yeah.
going through.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, so think through, like, you and I have led Grief Share together for 3 years,
mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've led it 3 years before that, and so 6 years. So there's incredible content. If you're listening, you've never gone through Grief Share and you've experienced loss of a loved one, you need to go through Grief Share. Even if it was 20 years ago, um, the content is incredible. There's so much good in it, but through 6 years of leading it, and then myself going through it shortly after the death of my sister, um, the one thing that I've seen every single year that every person who goes through it walks away with, the number one thing that benefits each person is this. You ready? They say this. What benefited them was, I realize I don't suffer alone.
Mhm.
That's what they walk away with.
Yeah.
So they walk in thinking no one understands what I'm going through. That common thought. And they walk in and they go, wow, um, they actually do realize what I'm going through, even though it's different. But we sit in the first session. One of the first things we tell each person, Cory, is don't minimize other people's losses. Um, you you won't gain anything. You won't grow. You won't heal if you minimize other people's losses because they're just as real.
Yes.
And if you think, oh, well, their loss is nothing like mine, you won't learn and you won't grow.
Yeah.
Each person who has lost somebody, they do know what you're going through because they have lost someone. Um, and so people do know what you're going through.
Right.
And so take that to heart. Um, and so I want to encourage you, if you are listening and you have lost a loved one and maybe you're retreating, I want to encourage you, talk to somebody. I know that's hard. I know that's scary. I know it takes vulnerability. There's many ways to do that. Call up a friend, text somebody. It's risky. Talk to a counselor. Go to a grief share group. It's hard, it's difficult, but it is absolutely necessary, because people do know what you're going through, and you won't grow unless you partner with them in that.
Yeah.
But as Cory said just a moment ago, even if you think no one understands what you're going through, there is someone you can always know
Mhm.
that knows what you're going through, and that's God.
Yeah.
Yeah. God always knows what you're going through.
That's right.
I mean, Cory, who was Jesus? How was he prophesied as um, what he would be 700 years before he was
Oh,
came
well, the very
took on
first thing
flesh?
is a wonderful counselor.
Wonderful counselor,
Yeah.
right? Um, Tell me some other things in that same passage. So he's referencing Isaiah, okay? In Isaiah, 700 years before Jesus walked on the earth, he's prophesied. He's a wonderful counselor. He's also prophesied as the suffering servant,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
within all of that, it says that he would be acquainted with our grief, right? He would be a man of sorrows. And this is who God taken on flesh. This is God the Son in the flesh
Yeah.
is. It's how he would be he was prophesied because that's who he is, and he took on flesh and he was that. Isaiah 53:3 says he was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And as one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised and we esteemed him not. And so I think of Jesus, who did that. He took on flesh. He was born in a time where babies were being killed and grieving was happening. He um, grew up under Roman rule, just a hard time of oppression. Um, he wept over the lostness of Jerusalem. But you have that beautiful picture in John 11. Mary and Martha are grieving. A bunch of people are grieving over the death of his friend, even Lazarus. And he who is about to raise Lazarus from the dead, he who has all the power, he sees their grief. And just him by his nature, he who is acquainted with our grief, that shortest verse in our Bible, what is it, Cory? What does it say?
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. No one understands what I'm going through. God does.
Mhm.
Jesus wept. He's acquainted with our grief. He's omniscient. He knows. And so he entered that so that we can know someone's walking with us. Hebrews 4:15 says, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. He has felt everything we feel,
Yes.
yet he has done it perfectly, and he walks with us through it all." Um, I'm grateful that we have a God who isn't distant from our pain, but is right next to us amidst it, you know?
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, to have a God who would go through suffering, go through um, feeling the worst of the worst, um, it kind of gives us without excuse why we wouldn't go to him.
Mm,
I mean, it's not like we have a God that doesn't get it,
yeah,
and he does.
yeah. Listen to this one, Psalm 56:8. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book?
Yeah, love that passage.
Man,
Yeah,
he knows. No one understands what I'm going through. He knows every single one of your tears.
yeah,
He knows you're grieving better than you do. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
Um, I find comfort in that.
Yes,
Yeah. And so we can bring our rawest, ugliest version of no one understands straight to God.
yes, that's right.
Yeah, we don't have to clean it up because he already knows. Yeah, yeah. So what what are some practical things we can take away
Sure.
with this, Corey?
Well, I would say there's a couple things. Of course, prayer. I mean, if we're going to take it to God, we really have to do it, and we
Yeah,
really have to be honest with Him. But then we also really need to let people in, um, friends or a friend. And earlier I was thinking about this. Even if we have a close friend who really cares and has not gone through loss, does not mean they cannot be helpful to us.
mm, yeah,
You know, because if they are sincerely wanting to be there and listen and have compassion, they're not afraid of suffering, they're not afraid of the fact that you're really hurting and they're just wanting to be there for you and they're not trying to give you tons of advice. They're just trying to be there. That is a valuable friend.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter if they fully understand because they at least understand you're hurting
yeah,
and they love you and you need that. You
yeah,
need those people. Um, and to at least have one is so valuable. But if you can have a couple is great. But then find people who are hurting like you. That's why grief share is so important. Finding people who have walked this path, because there's a wealth of wisdom that they can give you. And something I was thinking about too, Jacob, when you talk about all the years of grief share we've done, it never fails to amaze me the friends that come out of those groups.
oh, yeah,
Those people
yeah,
connect.
you're right.
And
Yep,
even in my grief support groups here at work, people connect.
yeah,
And it amazes me because you wouldn't see that happening, and they
yep.
would never have connected if it
They
wasn't
wouldn't have
for
done it on their own.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So there is a value there, and I think God is using our grief to bring about something different in our life and
yeah,
impact other people. And God can even use this horrible thing for His glory and
yeah,
for our good. You
he
know,
can. He works all things for good.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so let
that's some
him.
practical things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I wanna encourage you, listener, even though you feel no one understands what you're going through, someone understands some of what you're going through, and God understands what you're going through. So you can trust him and you can go to him.
And
So we want to encourage you to do that. God is near to the brokenhearted. You can trust him.